This is a review for the Palo Duro Canyon State Park Campground in Amarillo, Texas. When you first drive in, you have a bit of a winding road that kind of goes along the upper part of the canyon. To actually get to the campground, you're going to drop down into the lower part of the canyon. And so this is a 10% grade. It is not taken lightly. We were in first gear, barely trying to move, trying to not burn out our brakes or anything like that or lose control, but you do just have to go really slow. We arrived, it was already getting dark. I would not want to arrive after dark. It would be very scary trying to do this drive after dark. You don't really have guardrails. You can see there's not much of a ledge in a lot of places. And again, it's a 10% grade for a couple of miles. You have that as you're heading down to all the campgrounds. When you then make it all the way down the descent, to the left-hand side, you can see there's a group pavilion area for large groups. And then to the right of that side, there is an amphitheater where they probably do shows and performances most times of the year. Not right now during COVID when we're filming this, but that's over here to the right side. And then to the left side, again, we're about to pass where the dump station is at. So there's not sewer hookups at the site. Palo Duro Canyon State Park. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wow, this is worth a trip to Amarillo just to come to this state park. You can see we have water and electric. We are at site 132. They are back-in sites. This one is set to hold 40 feet, so it can hold a 40-foot RV. Obviously, we're 38 feet, and then we've got the Jeep here parked sideways. You can see we have a fire pit area, although there is high fire restrictions right now. Fire ban is in effect, so you cannot have a fire of any sort or any sort of charcoal grill. But we have a picnic table over here, and we're missing the upper trusses for our pergola. But if you can see the neighboring side over here, they have these semi-shaded picnic table areas. Come on, Jackie, let's keep walking. And you can see the beautiful part of the beautiful canyon out there in the distance. This canyon is huge, apparently the second largest canyon in the US, and it's really beautiful. Now there are some major inclines, grades, 10% grades to get into here, so you need to know how to use that first gear and go slow. So here in the sagebrush loop, you can see where the facilities are at. I don't know if those are open right now with COVID, but trash, we actually have a trash that's right across from us. These are some neat sites here along this edge too. I don't think you could complain about any of the sites here. Just depends on how close you are to certain canyon views. But this is the first campground that you come to, so if you want to be in the closest campground to the visitor center and the first one, so you don't have to drive your rig quite as far into some of this canyon stretch and the inclines, then this would be the choice you might want. It's nice and flat in the areas where the campground's at. We didn't have to do much to level the RV for these sites. You can see that there's concrete everywhere, and there's plenty of hiking trails around. So we're literally just hiking from the campground. There's a bunch of different hiking trails that head off in different directions. Obviously, probably watch out for snakes. They also have wild hogs here. We saw some deer. So a couple of different animals to look out for. The nighttime views are spectacular. All of the great noises of the crickets and everything else. You don't have any highway traffic or road noise at all. Big, beautiful, bright sky. Little bit of light pollution, so maybe not the best sky I've ever seen, but these are those big, beautiful Texas skies. So really a nice place to stay and to get away from the city. The view from the visitor center is really spectacular because you're up at the upper part of the canyon looking down on everything. We went ahead and just detached the Jeep and drove around and explored the canyon the next morning after we stayed here. Checkout time is not until noon, so you have plenty of time in the morning to explore before it gets too hot. The canyon during the summer can easily get down to up to 120 degrees. In fact, all of the major hiking trails have a thermometer at the start of the trail so you know how hot it is. Of course, they recommend to bring lots of water, hike earlier in the day or later as it gets to be towards the evening and it's a bit cooler. I really think that the morning was the best time and it was the coolest point in time. We were driving around at 9 o'clock and it was already pretty warm. The cost at this campground, I believe, was $24 a night. So that's for the RV site with water and electric. There is the sewer dump, but not sewer at the site. And then there's a state parks pass that's $8. I think it was per vehicle per adult. So whatever, or maybe it was, yeah, per kid, I don't quite know, but it ended up being about $42 for us to stay here for the night, not having a Texas Parks Pass. So when you buy the campground, you're automatically being charged the Parks Pass in there. You don't need to buy a separate Parks Pass. Now, if you're just going to stay outside of the park and come in for the day, you will need a Parks Pass for the day, for a day trip, and you need to reserve those online right now because of COVID. Don't know if that's always the case, but that is the case right now. And here's another good overlook of one of the canyon spots. We would for sure stay here again. If you're driving through Amarillo, if you're on I-40, this is a great place to stay and just add a night here to your travels. It'll be well worth it. Hope you enjoyed this review and thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for other reviews and follow us on Instagram.